African Business News, African of the Year award is 4 years old. The award recognizes Africans that have made an impact on the continent and on the world stage. This year's winner is featured in our sister magazine, Forbes Africa's December-January cover. Let's have a quick look at the cover unveiling with the co-founder of BN Group, that's Rakesh Wahi, and managing editor of Forbes Africa and Forbes woman, Renuka Methil. Okay, so you see who it was. Now let's hear from the African of the Year himself, the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo.
I'm overwhelmed. I have to thank you very much for recognizing the work that we're doing here in Ghana to be able to get this award. It's the name of your magazine it's a global brand. Everybody knows about it. And for its African version to pick on me, it's a big honor for me. I'm very grateful for it. What does it mean? I understand it more than anything else to mean that the world is looking at the work we're doing here in Ghana. It's an inspiration for us and an encouragement for us to continue down the path that we've set ourselves.
Ghana is now the trade capital of Africa under the AfCFTA. How would you want to take advantage of this?
I think the question itself in some ways gives the answer. This project, building a common market in Africa, has been on the table for a very long time, been talked about over and over again. But suddenly, the political will to bring it into being has been found on the continent. And that is a very important first step. But look at what it involves. It means we're now talking about the possibility. The rules are still being made as we are going along, but the trading has begun. We began trading on the 1st of January within the market. Considerable amount of the rules and regulations that need to be put in place to make it function equitably for all the nations of the continent are now in place. And the implications are enormous. Suddenly, traders, producers, manufacturers, exporters have a market of 1.2 billion people as their target. The projections are that that market is going to grow to a market of 2.5 billion people in 30 years' time, by 2050. So we're talking about a major trading bloc if it functions effectively. And those who have the opportunity to exploit the possibilities of this market are obviously going to reap big dividends. So what we've been trying to do here in Ghana, apart from struggling to have the Secretariat here with its obvious implications, is also to prepare our business community, our country, its institutions, as well as our business community, to be able to maximize the opportunities that this focus gives us. I think that there are tremendous opportunities in strengthening our manufacturing sector, improving the productivity of our agriculture, taking great advantage of the digital revolution, which the fourth industrial revolution that all of us are talking about, and which is now an important driving force in making of policy in Ghana and in implementation of policy. So yes, it presents an enormous opportunity for us. 16% of the collective GDP of the 54 states in Africa is derived from intra-African trade, is the lowest of any regional trading group in the world. You compare it to the European Union, for instance, 27 nations, 75% of their collective GDP is generated from intra-European trading. You take the bloc in Asia, ASEAN, which groups, I think, no more than 6 or 7 nations. 7% of the trading, internal trading of this community accounts for the collective GDP. So there is all the advantages, obvious advantages there are in being able to trade with yourselves. Unfortunately, partly as a result of our colonial inheritance, and secondly, absence of policy. We have not been focusing on trading amongst ourselves. The focus has been on looking outside the continent for trade, investment, etc. But the market now exists for us to be able to be, if you like, a little bit more, much more inward looking and insisting that our first priority is how to expand trade with our neighbors, how to expand trade within the continent. And we see that as a very much more secure route to bringing prosperity to the continent. So it's a major step forward. Well, and I'm particularly happy that Ghana has been honored by her peers to be responsible for the Secretariat. It's here. We have a very dynamic young man, this young South African, Wamkele Mene, who's the Secretary General, who's come to live here. And they're doing a very good job in making sure that the AFCFTA comes into full operation as soon as possible. Fortunately, as I said at the beginning, the political leaders on the continent see its value and are taking the decisions that will enable the market to function effectively. So that's where we are. But I'm very happy about Ghana's association with the trade project and the way you described it as the trade capital of Africa. That in itself is saying a lot for us.
That's the president of Ghana, the African of the Year. When I think about what has happened in Ghana this year, I certainly remember the Twitter headquarters for Africa moving there. I also remember a man who champions very much the African Continental Free Trade Area and one of the few countries on the African continent to grow. Joining me is Renu Kamethul, managing editor at Forbes Africa. Renu, given all those things, I am thinking this must have been an easy decision.
Godfrey, thank you so much for having me on the show. I guess with all the doom and gloom around us, we need some celebration and some news of positivity and hope. Yes, the president, the African of the Year 2021 is President Nana Akufo-Addo, richly deserved, I feel. This is the fourth year of the award, as you mentioned earlier. He joins an elite club of his peers in Africa who are internationally recognized. We started with Paul Kagame in 2018, the president of Rwanda, and then followed by Akínwùmí Adesina, the president of the African Development Bank. And last year was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the director general of the World Trade Organization. So this year we have the president of Ghana as African of the Year, simply because of the consistency he has shown. And I think what has been special in his case is not just raised the profile of Ghana. He's definitely done his bit in raising the international profile of his country, but also for the rest of Africa, as Akínwùmí Adesina said in his testimonial on him, that he's actually pushing the boundaries for not just Ghana, but for the rest of Africa. And we always, for this award, it has to be an African statesman of global repute, somebody who's a visionary, somebody who is willing to bring, serious reforms to the country. And he was definitely a clear winner because, we've always heard in the last 3 years at least, Ghana's always dominated news as a poster child for democracy and being one of the fastest growing economies, not just in Africa, but in the world, as the IMF said in 2019. So I do feel it is richly deserved, yes.
Yeah, it's one of the points I was actually going to make as well, because the fact that they were able to grow in an environment where we know many African countries suffered recessions, it's got to be an accolade. Any other nuggets that you picked up from your research as you did the story?
So the interview itself was an exclusive interview done in Accra by our West African correspondent, Peace Hyde. And if you read the magazine, you'll see the full interview. Where he talks about Ghana beyond aid. I think the greatest message that he wants to convey to the world is about Ghana being a global marketplace. And the fact that it is no longer it does not want to be reliant on aid. It wants to be self-sufficient. It wants to use its raw materials and its resources and its people and, its youth and the women. So we hear a lot of that positive news coming out of the country. And as you rightly said, a lot of the big corporates as well, like Twitter and Google and Volkswagen and ExxonMobil, looking at it more seriously. And the fact that Africa has also demonstrated its confidence in the country by setting up the AFCFTA secretariat. So I think there are a lot of positives going for it. True, in the COVID environment, it's seen its share of challenges, but the president says in his interview that they didn't see a negative growth, and really they're seriously pushing for serious economic reforms.